What's going on, guys? Dan from SSG bringing you another Edison format deck profile. This time I'm profiling my take on Salvo Chaos. I think this is a pretty interesting take on the Salvo deck, and I think this deck is pretty underplayed. I think it's a pretty strong deck in testing, and let's get right into it. We have the full 3 copies of Black Salvo and the full 3 copies of dekoichi. Now, I like to just play all 6 of these because I want to be a dedicated Salvo deck, right? If we're going to do it, let's do it all the way. And I think Salvo is a really strong payoff for playing a deck like this. And I think dekoichi kind of holds its own as one of the better flip monsters in the format. Of course, it's no ryko, but it's very good. It can get a +1, it can survive, and it can do pretty good things. So I think these cards are very powerful. I think Salvo is criminally underplayed, and I'm sure throughout the deck profile, we're going to get into the reasons why. So, very powerful card here, and I do like playing all 6. Like, let's just run it. We're playing Black Salvo. Let's play all of them. Onto our main engine, we have 3 copies of Hamster here and 3 copies of Ryko. This just helps us set up our sort of getting value, right? We're going to be able to set up our graveyard with Ryko, and we're going to be able to interact with our opponent by being able to fetch out Ryko consistently and get those problematic cards off the board. But also we're going to be able to mill, and this deck wants to mill quite a bit. We want to hit those dekoichis in the graveyard so our salvos can instantly come back. But we're going to play more of a value mid-range game with these cards and just try to trade 1-for-1 with our opponent, get some card advantage off of the hamster, and then utilize those for synchro fodder or for tribute fodder. So this is a good way to set up our deck early in the game, and we're playing all 6 for those reasons. We have full 3 copies of Caius here. Of course, Ryko, Hamster, Caius. Ryko, Caius, really strong combination for removal. We're playing all 3 because we can enable it. And, yeah, it's just pretty powerful. Caius is a strong card. We have a small hero package here, which I've been splashing in all of my Ryko Caius decks lately that I've been liking quite a bit. And it just consists of 1 copy of Stratos, the 1 copy of Evil Hero Prodigy, and of course 2 copies of Destiny Hero Malicious. So I like all these cards, right? They're very powerful and they're very concise in what they do, and it's a very concise package. You don't really have to add anything to it. I love the added power to these Ryko Caius decks of Destiny Hero Malicious because the synergy is just right there in front of you, right? You're going to be able to mill Malicious into the graveyard of Ryko and then start doing some nasty synchro plays. You're going to be able to sack for Caius, getting extra free fodder to do it there with the Destiny Hero Malicious. And then if you end up milling your Mally, you can always search your Evil Hero Prodigy. And honestly, in this deck, a lot of times I'm going straight for Prodigy off of my Stratos because there's not that many discard outlets in this deck for Malicious, so we generally do want to mill it. But Evil Hero Prodigy, a great extender in this deck, combos really well with Black Salvo, giving you access to a bunch of different levels. And I kind of just like these 4 cards in all of my Ryko Caius decks. I think it adds a lot of velocity and a lot of inevitability to these type of mid-range game plans. So really strong card here, and of course adding Stratos to your deck. I mean, who doesn't want to do that? Get those early starters into your deck. We have 1 copy of Sangan, just a really strong card, can kind of search out what we need. A lot of times we're searching our 1 of cards of the treeborn frog and the plaguespreader zombie, of course, combing with our Destiny Hero Malicious, very powerful there. We're going to be milling these cards a lot. We have full access to Ryko with the 3 copies of Hamster and 3 Ryko, so we're going to be milling these cards quite a bit. And these cards combo really well with Destiny Hero Malicious, combos really well with the treeborn, combos really well with the Black Salvo to give you access to level 8 monsters, which is really strong. And both of these cards also combo well with Caius, so in many different ways. So very strong cards there, and they give you a lot of flexibility. And treeborn frog really strong on this deck, giving you a lot of access to different levels. Little small package here. I have 1 copy of Battle Fader, 1 copy of Dimensional Alchemist. I like Alchemist a lot in these mid-rangey Chaos decks that I added Malicious to because of this weird interaction that it has with Destiny Hero Malicious, where if you remove your first Malicious and then use the second one, that's usually the end of the line, right? However, if you have Dealch, you can, if you have Dealch and then plaguespreader in graveyard, you can actually when this dies, you can add the banished Malicious to your hand, and then stack the Malicious that you added to your hand onto the top of the deck with the plaguespreader. Then remove your second Malicious to theoretically get a 3rd copy of Malicious into play, which is just very, very powerful. And having a 1 of Dimensional Alchemist that's just a generically good card in your deck to enable this sweet late game combo is very, very strong and powerful, because it's a good standalone card as its own. You play a bunch of monsters where you can just banish off the top of your deck. You're going to be able to grab back things, get banished from your Chaos Sorcerer, your Dark Arm, and as well as Bottomless Trap Hole from your opponents, and Dimensional Prison. And I like the one copy of Battle Fader just sort of as an homage to those old style decks that used to max on these type of cards in those Salvo Chaos decks. But as we know now, that's not really an optimal way to play. We kind of just don't have infinite resources, like infinite time to kind of do those like dirtily things. But I do like this as a combination for Caius, as well as Black Salvo. It's a synchro for level 8 monsters. And Dimensional Alchemist, really strong card with the whole malicious thing. And also we can recur the Battle Fader if we need to. Some power cards, one copy of Cyber Dragon. Really strong card here, just gets the job done. I always like Cyber Dragon in these Salvo Chaos type decks. Can always get you out of a pinch. When you just drop this into play, the normal summon Salvo. You know, just kind of make a level 8, put a light in your dark in your graveyard. Really strong card in the main deck here. Tragoedia, Gorz. Not much to say here. It's the main line of defense. Very powerful. They're going to be very strong for us. And our power cards, one copy of Chaos Sorcerer, one copy of Dark Arm Dragon. Putting both these cards in your deck in Edison format is just extremely powerful, and that's one of the main draws for this style of deck. But they also combine really well with Black Salvo, because Salvo can kind of clear the way with a Black Rose effect, or kind of bait out their back rows, because it's such a powerful, threatening card, that these coming in on the follow-up just become even more immensely powerful. This card is not built around nearly enough. Chaos Sorcerer is a very powerful card. It's no BLS, but it's still extremely powerful. Build some Chaos decks, people. This card is worth building around, even if it's a one-of, because it always comes along with its friend Dark Arm Dragon. Very strong power monsters here, and worth building around. On to spells, full 3 copies of Book of Moon. Really strong card here, just being able to play a lot of card advantage-y, grindy gameplay with your hamsters and rykos, but also just protecting your dekoichis is really strong on turn 1. When you protect them from battle, you can then flip your dekoichi, get the full gain train effect going, and then go ahead and sack that dekoichi for Caius after it gains its value, or synchro summon with it. Very strong card, very flexible in our deck, and we're going to play all 3. We have the brain control as well as mind control. We have a lot of tuners on the deck, 4 if we count them all. We're going to be able to kill our opponents with these cards. Very, very strong. It's just very powerful in combination with plaguespreader. Just normal summon plague, mind control, bam, just start going off, and plague's still in the grave. Very strong cards here. Spells, we have Allure of Darkness, Foolish Burial. Foolish is extremely important for this deck. It helps you set up dekoichi for Salvo. It helps you get treeborn in the grave, helps you get plaguespreader in the grave, helps you get malicious in the grave. Just does so much different things for your deck, and getting the -1 just to send dekoichi is worth it, because like sometimes it nets like multiple cards with like a Black Rose effect or like an Urbellum attacking directly. So very strong here. One Avarice for the late game. You could just play Avarice in these style of Ryko Caius decks, like maxing them out. But I kind of like one for the late game. Put those Salvos back, put Chaos Sorcerer back, put Dark Arm back. We don't need to be, we want cards in the graveyard in general, right? We want Mally in the grave, we want Treeborn in the grave, we want Dekoichi in the grave, so we don't want to max on this card. Play it as a one-of, get those power cards back in the deck. Heavy Storm, of course. And then 3 copies of Raigeki Break for the trap lineup. Just discard those Dekoichis, discard the Mally, get some value, make sure the threats don't come back. Card's really good, just helps you push through damage as well. Very interactive. Everyone knows Raigeki Break is a pretty strong card. Actu deck, pretty standard, but we utilize it very well because of Black Salvo gives us a lot of options. Armory comes up so often, and the card is so powerful, especially when we get a mind control going or a brain control. We can just kill our opponents out of nowhere. Being able to make this card with the Salvo plus like Treeborn Frog is really strong. Ryko plus Plaguespreader Zombie, really strong. Our Rykos live a lot in this deck because of Book of Moon. Armor, extremely powerful. We have Catastor, we have Magical Andriod. We have the 2 6s, Goyo and the Bionic. 7s are toolbox for the Salvos. We have Black Rose Dragon, of course, just normal summon. Black Rose Dragon is insane in Edison format. It's so powerful. Very, very strong. We have Ancient Fairy to play some defense. And then my MVP for the deck, Herbellum, X-Saber Herbellum, really, really strong card. We have raigeki breaks and rykos to clear the way, and then we just salvo and just attack directly, get some value, put them way behind, and the card's just extremely powerful. I like having access to this off of a normal summon. We have some 8s, of course, Black Stardust Dragon, Colossal Fighter, Thought Ruler, Red Dragon Archfiend, Darken, So Broken, Mistworm, we can make it very easily in this deck, and the Chimera Tech Fortress. Sideboard, 2 DD Crows, 2 Doom Caliber Knights, 2 Kaiku, 1 Warrior Lady, 1 Cyber Dragon. I like this little package here a lot. I don't really include Crow, but they do come in when we do this. But I like signing out like 1 Dekoichi, 1 Salvo, and be more of like a controlling deck with like all these cards and like having the additional Cyber Dragon on the main board. We can just do like kind of like a pseudo Chaos Warrior deck, be more of a controlling deck, still have Chaos Sorcerer and Dark Arm in our deck, and very strong. I like the sort of like sideboard plan in a lot of matchups with these cards. And this card's extremely good with Hamster Ryko. Being able to like have a Ryko that lives, flip it up, clear the way, and then bam, get that attack in. Really strong. 1 copy of MST, 1 copy of Lightning Vortex, very powerful. Cards here. 2 pulling, we don't want our face down Dekoichis to get caius to rise it. We just can't have that happen, it's awful. 2 pulling the rugs. 2 Threatening Roar, I like this card a lot. It does a lot of different things, it's very versatile. I like that it's just like, it doubles as a way to prevent lightsworns and things like that from OTKing us. Kind of like a gorz, just, haha, got him. And then we get to like Black Rose by having Salvo and retaliating, just getting rid of all their whole push, which is very, very strong. Gives some more value to this card than it normally has. And also protecting our Dekoichis and hamsters and rykos so they can't attack them. And then we flip them over and start making synchro plays, sacking for caius. Really strong. Taking a -1 there to actually have our like board turn into something like feasible and viable. Out of like our normal like cards that we're just fine setting anyway, is very strong. And I do like the Threatening Roar because I think it's very flexible in this deck. Wouldn't be an SSG profile with the last card. Of course, 1 copy of Trap Dushu. We're going to open this card. We're going to be better than our opponents. We're just way more skilled than them, and that's about it. That is about it, guys. Let me know what you guys thought about the deck in the comment section below. As you can tell, I'm probably getting over a little bit of a cold here, so hope you guys enjoyed and didn't care about me hacking as I sort of got through this deck profile. But Salvo Chaos, really strong deck. I think it's just very powerful. It does a lot of cool different things, and I just love the addition of malicious in these style of decks. It just does a lot of good work, and that is about it, guys. So, without further ado, this is Dan V from SSG, signing out.